Hey guys, how's it going? So Premiere ate my project, so unfortunately the video's a little bit later than I would like it to, but at least I didn't wait 3 months this time and then just decide making a video wasn't worth it like last year, so... much on the first day. I mostly walked around, we did a bunch of shopping and whatnot, and we'll get to the shopping later, but there was one announcement that I personally was interested in, and that was
March 31st, and that is the, what are we calling it again? The Artifacts update. That. Woo! Yes.
For the Borderlands fans, there was the live reading of the announcement of the new Borderlands DLC, as well as the announcement that Eli Roth is working on the Borderlands movie. So one of the games that I got to play on the second day was Hard Space Shipbreaker, and this game is really interesting. It's a sci-fi game where you cut up ships and sell the parts for money. You're like 1 billion credits in debt or something, and you have to get out of debt by salvaging these ships. So it's really interesting. The whole mechanic around actually like cutting up the ships is really interesting because there's a lot of flammable stuff and things that'll explode, like fuel lines and reactors and stuff. So you have to be really kind of surgical in how you go in and cut up the ships, or else you'll just blow up the whole thing. Anything that gets damaged can't be salvaged anymore. So also if you die, you have to they have to regenerate your body, which is super expensive. So there's all kinds of problems that you'll run into while you're trying to do this. Now, the first time I played it, I got absolutely just wrecked because I didn't understand what you were supposed to do at first. I was like cutting off parts and just depositing them in the wrong places and all this stuff. So I ended up being in more debt after finishing than before. So it was really interesting for me to like sit down and I afterwards I like asked them like, okay, so what was I supposed to be doing, right? I went in blind and I was like, what am I supposed to be doing here? So after they explained, there's a couple of different places. There's not just one. You don't just deposit everything in the same place. There's like dedicated sections for like melting down raw materials versus like salvaging completely intact engines. So that was something that I didn't quite understand when I first sat down with it, but overall the game is really fun. It's supposed to be out in early access in the summer sometime, so it's just really fun and I'm really looking forward to it. The next game that I played was Industries of Titan. And this game I only found recently, actually. Somebody sent it to me on Twitter and they were like, here, check this out. And I was like, why have I not seen this game before? So I had to obviously play it, and it is, they had it in an early alpha state, and I only got about 15 minutes of play in, and I ended up running into a bug where just like all of the workers stopped doing stuff. So it's definitely early alpha. There is a beta coming soon. There's a link probably in the description. Hopefully the beta signups are still going on. You can sign up for the beta. It's a tower. It's like a strategy base building game. I really like these kinds of these games with like the automated pawns that kind of do whatever you tell them to, and you just kind of tell them where to go and what to build, and they kind of just figure it out from there. But it looks like it has a lot of depth. There's like, they had videos of like the actual like ship combat and all this stuff. It's just wild. Go check out their Twitter if you want to see more videos about the game and whatnot. And yeah, I'm super stoked for this. So the last game I played on the second day was Metal Unit, and it is a 2D roguelike action game very similar to like Dead Cells. It is like a hack and slash side-scrolling action game that takes place in the near future. It's a sci-fi game where you're fighting against monsters, and so humanity is fighting against these monsters, and they're losing. And there's also an alien race that is, descending upon Earth, and seeing the humans are struggling against the monsters, they offer humanity the metal units, which are these powered suits. This powered suit technology that the aliens have developed. So the humans start using the powered suits they trade some of Earth for these powered suits, so that they can fight back against the monsters. What they don't realize right away, and that they end up finding out, is that the suit slowly brainwashes the user and turns them into an alien in the process. So the humans found out too late, and so a lot of the early users of the metal units have become brainwashed and are now aliens. So you play as Joanna, a new user of the suit who knows about the flaw, this flaw about being brainwashed. So she's attempting to mitigate her usage of the suit, trying to avoid using it too much so she doesn't get brainwashed, while still trying to use the suit in order to save humanity from the monsters. So in the process, she ends up fighting against some of her old comrades who have been brainwashed while using the suits. So this story goes into a lot of depth into like the different characters and her relationship with all of these different characters. In fact, one of the people who have been brainwashed is her sister. So there's definitely some really interesting stuff going on in the story. The game is in early access right now, and so you can go and pick it up. I'm really excited to get my hands on it and play it, because I'm interested in seeing where the story and stuff ends up going over the course of like all of the missions and whatnot, as you go through and get your permanent upgrades. You play through, you die, you get your permanent upgrades, you go back in, and then you get to explore the story through this kind of recursive playthrough. Very similar to Dead Cells. So I'm very excited to get my hands on this game, and it's out in early access right now. So if you want to go pick it up, you can go check it out there. Let's go. Let's see here. Did we get anything? Hey!
Okay, subscribe to this channel.
Thank you. So the one game that I did play on day 3 was Coffee Talk. It's a visual novel that takes place in an alternate reality, modern day Seattle, where vampires, elves, werewolves all exist. You own a coffee shop that opens up after dark, and you make coffee for the various people who come into the store looking for a nice place to relax in the middle of the night. The game plays very similarly to Valhalla. If you've played that, the bartending in Valhalla feels very similar to the coffee making in Coffee Talk. So if you've played that, this will definitely be a very similar experience. The characters are great. It's not long before you meet Freya, who is a writer, and she's using the coffee shop as an inspiration for a book that she decides to write. If you've if you're into visual novels, I don't think you should miss out on this one, because the characters are really great. The ones that I experienced in the demo are just great. I really like the way they're written. It's all very well thought out. So it's definitely something that I think you should pick up. It's out now on Steam, the Switch, and the Xbox and PS4, so you can pick it up for your platform of choice. One of the first games we played on the final day was Biped, which is a two-player cooperative puzzle platforming type game, which is just absolutely super adorable. The characters are really, really like these little cute robots, and they're amazing. This game is just so much fun. It's very easy to start with. They start you off in the we did the tutorial first, and it starts you off pretty easy. Okay, how to take steps and how to activate switches and all this stuff, but the game gets incredibly difficult very quickly. The game it immediately starts asking you to do stuff like coordinate whether or not who's gonna step first, and there are platforms where you can only have 3 feet on it at once, and you have to both kind of walk across it at the same time. So if you both put your feet down at the same time, it you can't have 4 feet, or else the thing disappears, or you can't walk on a platform that's the wrong color. So if you are the blue player, you can't walk on a platform that is red, because then the platform disappears. So, but when a red player steps on a red platform, it turns blue. So you kind of have to back and forth take turns stepping on these platforms, and it just gets really difficult really quickly. But I love how co-op focused the game is. It just is so much fun. I probably could have sat there and played the game all day. They had I want to say 3 difficulty. There was the default level, and there were 2 harder versions of the same level that you could play, and they had 4 of them playable. The game comes out this month, so it's not it's pretty much done. But I think the demo had I want to say at least 9 levels available to play, and I could have sat there all day and played it because it was just that much fun. But yeah, this is definitely one that I'm going to be picking up when it comes out on the 27th of March. And yeah, there's not much else to say. Check out the Steam page. I believe it's also coming to the PlayStation 4. So definitely go check it out if you're interested in cooperative puzzle platformers. Next up, we have Skull, and Skull is another 2D platforming roguelike type action game, and it differs in one very specific way. Instead of having weapons that you equip, the main mechanic is that you actually switch skulls, And so when you switch skulls, you actually gain all of like the abilities of that skull. So for example, if you get a mummy skull, then you get all of the mummy powers. If you get a werewolf skull, then you get the werewolf powers. So there's this it's similar in the realm of like Dead Cells, but instead of picking up like a sword, you pick up like a whole kit of new abilities, which is what sets it really apart from something like Dead Cells. The game is really, really fun. The enemies are really challenging. There's lots of enemy variety, and the graphics are really, really pretty. So it's definitely something that I'm really excited to play. It's already out, so I already picked up a copy, and it's very fun. I played a little bit of it before, in between editing. So definitely check it out if you're into that kind of game. Next up, we have Magic Legends, and this game is really, really interesting because it takes place in like the Magic the Gathering universe, but it is a top-down, like isometric view action hack and slash type game. So it's like an action RPG, very much in the vein of Diablo, but it's very Magic in certain ways. I wasn't able to get any video for this, so I only have a few screenshots. They specifically asked not to take any video because it's an early build, but I can talk a little bit about the experience itself. One of the interesting things of it is if you've ever played Diablo, then you probably have a good idea of how the game plays, like the way you play the game. It's the top-down perspective. You move around and you press buttons to use abilities. The thing that makes this game uniquely Magic is that your abilities are actually part of a deck, and this deck is made up of different cards, and these cards all have different mana costs and whatnot. And so as you use your abilities, your A, B, X, Y abilities, those abilities actually change. They go, if you cast, in my case, I was playing as the Mind Mage, and I was playing as the Mind Mage, and I was playing a blue deck essentially, and I was able to summon water elementals, and so the summon water elemental button was Y, but then it changed into like a different another blue spell. So it was not always like the face buttons didn't correspond directly to a single spell, but instead was just like a hand of, essentially ABXY was a hand of 4 cards, and when you cast one of them, you draw another card onto that button. So that makes it very much much more like a Magic game. It very much makes it feel like its own thing rather than being a direct like a Diablo clone or a Torchlight clone kind of thing. So it's definitely it definitely has its own feel, and I'm really excited to actually get a chance to play it. I know it's like early. I don't know exactly when it's supposed to be coming out, but I'm really excited to get my hands on this one. So for the final game that I played, it was Hindsight 2020, Wrath of the Rakshasa, and this game was really interesting. If you like narrative-driven like choice games, this is going to definitely be an one to keep an eye on, because it has some of the most interesting choice mechanics that I've seen. I want to do an entire video on just what I was able to talk to the developers about, because I actually did get a chance to speak with the lead, and he was telling me about all the ways in which the game kind of makes some choices obvious and some choices maybe less obvious, or not even announced directly to the player, which is kind of what makes this game really unique, in that the game feels organic in the way that your choices matter. So one of the obvious choices that the game gives you right off the bat is, do you use a lethal weapon or a non-lethal weapon? And the choice of whether to dispatch enemies with a lethal weapon or a non-lethal weapon will have clear impacts on the relationship you have with the other characters as they commend you or hate you for choosing a lethal or non-lethal option, right? If you use say a non-lethal weapon on some guards, then the leader of the guards, the captain of the guards, would not hate you. He would actually like you a lot more because you didn't murder his guards, right? Rather than if you murdered them all, he would actually hate you. So there's a lot of that, obviously that's a choice. You can choose between lethal and non-lethal. But some of the other more interesting options for the game is that maybe you choose to use lethal, and then that leads you into a boss fight with the captain. So he in turn is now fighting you, and then at the end of that fight you come to realize that because that fight took a long time, that was a decision in itself, right? Not necessarily a conscious one, but like the game is affected by how long the boss fight takes, right? The outcome of the boss fight may be different, or the result of the boss fight may be different based on how long you took to fight that boss. Maybe there was basically a hidden timer or something happening in the background that because the boss fight took so long that you weren't able to reach that event. So I want to talk about this in more detail in a separate video, but definitely if you're into like hack and slash games with with a lot of different like story choices, like branching story paths, this is definitely one to keep your eye on, because the way it does like its choice system is just so unique and so much more interesting than how you've seen it in other games where maybe there's just a binary choice or the choice is just a dialogue option. There's more to the choice system in this game than there is in a lot of other games. Definitely going to do a separate video though for the rest of it, because there is just too much to unpack in only a few minutes. Well, that is it for me, guys. If you liked the video, leave a like and a subscribe, and I will see you guys later.